Um, One thing I noticed in there was the indoor air quality maintenance, which is a big subject right now. And this little device, have you guys seen this thing? Can you see it on my screen?
Yes, we can.
This is a thing called a flare, and this gives you readings of particle sizes and the VOCs. And it's kind of a hot new item that it's not new. It's probably 9 years old now, but it's new to our industry a little bit. And they're starting to use this in the school systems to be able to tell what's going on in the air in specific classrooms and whatnot. So
Hold up just a little higher there, Bobby, so they can see it a little better. There you go.
Talking clean in a dirty world. Talking clean in a dirty world. Dirty, 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 dirty world. Talking clean in a dirty world.
Hello, everyone. This is Dave Thompson. I'm your host here at Talking Clean in a Dirty World. I got to get out of the way of the logo. It's so big. As you can see, things have changed a little bit. We got a new logo up here. And hey, Don down there, he got the message and he's got the logo. We'll wait for everybody else to join in here eventually. We talk about all kinds of things here at Talking Clean and Dirty World. If you've seen our previous ones, it's always a new topic. The last time we talked with Dr. Whiteley. Man, did he instruct us on biofilms. That was quite a show. So if you want to know about cleaning and biofilms, check out some of those past shows. First topic for today, gentlemen, back to school practices. Thought this was interesting. Be prepared. There's a whole bunch of different things. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look through this. Give me some opinions if you don't mind from this article.
So one thing I noticed in there was the indoor air quality maintenance, which is a big subject right now. And this little device, have you guys seen this thing? Can you see it on my screen?
Yes, we can.
This is a thing called a flare, and this gives you readings of particle sizes and the VOCs. And it's kind of a hot new item that it's not new. It's probably 9 years old now, but it's new to our industry a little bit. And they're starting to use this in the school systems to be able to tell what's going on in the air in specific classrooms and whatnot. So
hold up just a little higher there, Bobby, so they can see it a little better. There you go. Thank you.
And that's measuring VOCs.
It's measuring particle sizes. So it can tell the difference between the particle size of an actual virus load all the way up to dust. It's measuring mold. It's measuring VOCs. It's giving temperature. You can see that right there. Now it's saying right now, when I had this on, the indoor air quality was at excellent. But now holding it up next to me talking.
You're breathing into it, yeah.
Correct. Maybe knocking the CO2s or
your breath would knock that machine apart. Come on.
There you go. And good job. That was.
Did you brush your teeth this morning, Bobby?
All right. Now we're getting dumb. All right. So, but you can see what it's doing there, and giving these readings. And
so is it handheld, or do they mount those on the walls?
No, you mount that on the wall. You certainly can bring it into a room.
And it can connect to, I assume, a main computer somewhere, and they can monitor the entire school system.
Correct. Exactly. Give you alerts. It goes to a website that you can monitor, get reports out of. Exactly.
See, I would see that as a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Bobby. Whenever I was up cleaning carpet last week at a place, and we were removing all the dirt before we started using chemicals. I mean, the indoor air quality in there was absolutely horrible. I need a meter like that. Tell me, my lungs told me that.
Right, but a lot of times there's very specific examples where we think it might be mold, but it's actually something else.
Correct.
And that's the kind of stuff that this lets you know. And I would say, what's that?
Does it also register chemicals in the air? So, like if somebody,
that's going to be your VOCs most of the time. So, like if they're stripping a floor, you're going to be able to tell the VOCs are up, whatever it might be. It also monitors vaping. So they're vaping in a restroom. It can let you know that that's going on.
Right. That's a big deal now with the schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's pretty neat. Yeah. And what, Bobby? How the information on these things, are these relatively cost effective for the schools, or just more of an expensive product?
No, I mean, I don't know the pricing right off the top of my head for it, but it's
Something that
definitely affordable, something they can
Affordable.
put into the school system. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not outrageous.
the reason I
And-
say is that because one of our best customers, or clients, I should say, is a private daycare, and they don't have this. They don't have this product. So, I mean, of course, we do everything we can to promote, let them know about indoor air quality and all that stuff. And, we use our HEPA vacs and all that and take care of the kids. But I don't know if they're up to speed. And honestly, I'd be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't really that much up to speed on this particular thing. So this is something maybe I might be able to bring, to the table here. They would be interested in something like that.
Oh yeah, I got one, so you can come get it.
Okay, cool.
Over there and try it out. Don, it actually has a cover. So technically, when you put it up at a facility, you're covering it up. Nobody really knows what's going on it. It just happens that if you take the cover off and you turn it on, then you can have the readings. So it's not like people are going to be able to see what's necessarily private information for the facility.
To answer your question, Javier, whenever I had it here in the academy classroom, whenever we were using chemicals and we were teaching classes, you could actually see it go up. And one of the demonstrations that the vendor shows is they put instant hand sanitizer on their hands and use it, and you can see the VOCs go completely out of the roof.
Go through the roof, yeah. That's pretty. That's pretty cool.
He's told the president CEO Dinesh has told stories where like it's sitting on a desk, and if somebody comes in and they're sick, you can tell the viral load's going up on the machine. So it definitely is a useful unit.
Now, a sister part of that system is that, and we have it here in the academy still, is a filter and UV lighting system that replaces a ceiling tile. And it's a light, and it actually has a fan. It pulls air through, filters it, and it has a UV light in there. So it helps to clean that air that you've recognized are bad by the monitor that Bobby showed.
Yeah, no, and the other part too is if they already have filtering systems, this to let them know if it's really working. A lot of these filtering systems were sold quickly, during COVID, and some of them just don't perform like others.
Well, I think that was one of the things that you mentioned, in this report here, is that it does talk about, restrooms, as you said, Javier, here, and keeping them odor free, clean, fresh. They're talking about restocking, keeping supplies, but, to your point, how do we know that we've actually provided a clean atmosphere, a healthy atmosphere from the air? I mean, a lot of people are just using the smell to cover up stuff.
Right, exactly. I mean, deodorizer is a 101 thing to always, if it doesn't smell good inside the building, or it doesn't smell good, let's just put the deodorizer. But right, we're not really dealing with actual getting to the meat of it, or the root of what has to be done in the building.
I thought there was a lot of good information in here. Schools have started, and so, just like all the articles that we read, this is just a point of conversation about, what is going on in the schools. What do we do? I think the interesting thing is it said collaborative education. Of course, for me, anytime you say education, my ears go up.
Yeah. Is it, they're speaking more of collaborative cleaning within the efforts of education?
Well, yeah. What is the need for cleanliness? What kind of cleanliness needs to happen, and who's responsible for it? And I think as we came out of the pandemic, there were people that were actually doing more cleaning than just the facility maintenance. Now they're going, well, who's supposed to do what now?
No, absolutely. And I don't think the collaborative cleaning hasn't necessarily slowed down. They still have teachers who are assisting in the classroom during the day. And that's where products like HDocs have really boomed for us, because they're products that don't need a right to know. You don't need any gloves or goggles to be able to utilize that product as a disinfectant in the classroom. So I see that collaborative cleaning is not really slowed down that much, and it may have slowed down physically if people are pushing back on it, but I think the process of it and the desire of it in the school systems is still there for certain.
Well, I think it's interesting as you read the report, they were talking about hand hygiene, and it's like, you would think that it's just something we should do. But on the other hand, Bobby, to what you're saying, people don't read the labels of what we've been using. I mean, some of the chemicals that they just consider because of the name brand is safe, they don't read the chemical labels on them.
Right.
Yeah, that's why HDocs comes into play a lot. So there's not a ton of products out there that they can put out there without putting the proper PPE for their employees.
Especially in the schools, and I mean, obviously in the public school system, but also in private or any school system, but especially dealing with kids, younger children too, that are, at a certain age group, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, all that stuff, where, they're young. So, the tendencies to be allergic and to have issues to other chemicals and stuff like that always come into play. I know, as an example, that the daycare that I was just telling you guys that's a good client of ours. One of the things before we were able to have them as a client, we spoke to their board and all that stuff. And one of the things that they were extremely adamant about was what products we were going to use, and are they going to be, in essence, going to be affecting, the health of the kids or whatnot, or in other words, an alternative to your thing. And obviously they were green-minded, the school system, which was, I mean, it's a private school, it's not a school system, but going back to what you were saying, Bobby, the HDocs, yeah, I mean, that's our primary disinfectant, and we love it, and that's all we use. So it's really great to be able to use that there and not have to worry about those questions.
Yeah,
so since you're talking about
it hits all the check boxes, because you're going to have a disinfectant. It's going to take care of COVID and all those concerns. But it's an all-purpose cleaner and removes a bunch of the VOCs from the closet. Plus it's cost effective. So you start hitting all those check boxes. Customers love it. Mm-hmm. Great product.
Yeah. And as you saw here, this first part that they said here in this is proper disinfection protocols. Cleaning and disinfecting are not synonymous. But I think that what Dr. Whiteley talked last time, he had the 9 attributes of the process of cleaning. I think we have learned, and most schools know this by now, that you have to clean before you disinfect. Although I wonder how much of that's still followed today.
Well, that's what I was going to come in with. I'm usually negative Nancy here, so I'm going to tell you that what I'm visualizing and seeing out on the street and in almost every aspect is same thing we talked about before. The people that we trained up, especially during COVID, people were really amped up to learn things, and they were anxious to get educated and learn the proper procedures, and everybody was on the same train heading down that track. And since COVID now, a lot of those folks have left those jobs. I mean, the turnover has been tremendous in every aspect. I can't go anywhere that somebody's not complaining about they can't keep the folks, they can't keep the help. So what they're doing is they're turning people over, and because that's such a priority to them, I think my opinion is that they're negating some of the training that usually goes along with that, because they're just churning and burning people through. They don't have time to train them properly. So I see that practice is starting to come back through again.
Not that this is an HDocs commercial, but that's another reason why HDocs blows up.
Absolutely.
It's so simple. Red and green, one product, 2 different dilutions.
You can't get hurt with it. You can spray it in your face. You can do whatever. You can spray it on your arms and hands. It won't hurt you. Unless you're extremely allergic to everything, then you might have a problem. Other than that, anybody can use it.
And to your point, gentlemen, and thank you for leading me there, because that product I can use it as a cleaner at the low dilution. I can then use it as a disinfectant at the high dilution, and I'm not mixing chemicals. And I think this is something when you look at hazmat about chemicals, there's so many people out there using one product to clean, they don't rinse it, then they use another product to disinfect, and now they're mixing chemicals not only on the surface, but back to your point that you brought up on the start of this, Bobby, they're mixing chemicals with IAQ.
Yep.
Yeah, sending VOCs through the roof, and to Javier's point, and they also, on top of that, they'll add a fragrance to it. Now you have a triple whammy going on. You got mixed chemicals, and that smells bad, so they add a fragrance to cover up the fragrance, and it just becomes a combined nightmare of slurry in the air.
All I know, Dave, is you should call HDocs, get them to sponsor this little segment, because it seems like they got a free commercial.
Well, I mean, hey, we have a tendency to like what we like, and we know what works. And I think that brings up the point in the last part of the discussion I want to say here. In an article like this, it is hard for them to put out what they recommend as best protocols. But almost all of these articles is so vague as to what the people should actually do. And I think this is what we're talking about, gentlemen. It's a good start to be aware, but where's the protocols? And that's why we do so well here at the Academy. I mean, Pinellas County, Bobby, they've been coming through the onboarding courses lately quite frequently. To your point, Don, they're new. They're just now starting. Pinellas County is getting those people into their campus and getting the education. And I love to see that.
Yeah, I like the actual article. A lot of times these articles are written by vendor or manufacturers. We usually have some sort of or by somebody who's got their little reason to slant things. And this was written by Rachel Sanchez of Prestige Maintenance USA, and obviously she's experienced in this, and that's what they do. So they're just going through the basics of what the things you need to do and that are essential. And she obviously knows those things. So that it made the article a little more bite to it for me.
Yeah, I mean, and as you look at articles, folks, this is what we're pointing out. You read what you do, and this is why we like to talk about it here on Talking Clean and Dirty World. They're all just points of conversation. I think that's what news articles are for. They don't always give us the end answer. That's something we have to find ourselves, and that's why we here have all of the resources. Bobby, you mentioned too, the IAQ detector, the cleaning product, training. I mean, this is collaborative thinking, right?
Yeah, we'll call it the flare.
The flare.
The flare.
Make it easier than IAQ.
Le fleur.
So as we end with a little bit of a flare, thank you folks for watching, and please join us on another episode here. You can like and follow us and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're watching the channel, you're already there. Please subscribe. That way you won't miss the next episode. If you're listening to the audio, well, go over to Jim at Jim Supply. You can watch the video too sometime. Anyway, gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show this morning, and hopefully somebody will get this information and share it.
See you, Dave.
Okay.